जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय। श्रील कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to today's Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita reading. We are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 5, the activities of Sakshi Gopal. So, yesterday we were reading about the conversation between these two Brahmanas, the elder and younger Brahmana. And after the pilgrimage, now they are in Sakshi Gopal's temples, and this is in Vrindavan. So in Vrindavan, they were in Sakshi Gopal's temple, and the elder Brahmana had expressed his gratitude for the young Brahmana's service, and how he was so pleased with him. And he said that if I didn't reciprocate with your service, then I would be an ungrateful person. So, therefore, I want to give my daughter in charity to you. So, the young Brahmana said, my dear sir, you are saying something which is not possible at all. You are from an aristocratic family, the most aristocratic family. You are very wealthy and you're so learned, and I am not at all aristocratic, and I am a very poor Brahmana, and neither do I have even decent education. How am I a suitable uh, person to receive your charity? That means how I'm not fit to be given, right, your daughter. I'm not a fit recipient for this charity that you want to give of your daughter. And he also said, I only rendered service to you, or I still do. I render service to you only for the satisfaction of Krishna. Then we have to. Did we also read text 24? Let me see. ब्राह्मण सेवाय कृष्णेर प्रीति बड़ो होय Yeah, I don't think we read this, or maybe we did. Let me see. Brahmana sevaya Krishnera priti bado hoy, tahara santoshe bhakti sampada badoi. Meaning that when someone does service to Brahmana, as we were discussing yesterday, um, elders, yes, we were discussing about elders, but also he has here triple benefit. He's serving an elder, he's serving a Brahmana, and on top of everything, he's serving a Vaishnava. As Srila Prabhupada points out in the purport, that service to Vaishnava. Mad Bhakta Puja Bhihadika, Krishna says, right? My devotee, anyone who serves my devotee, I'm more pleased with him. So, Brahmana Sevaya Krishnera Priti Bodo Hoy. Krishna. So, when we serve the Brahmanas, Krishna becomes very pleased. Namo Brahmanya Devaya. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. He is the well-wisher of cows and Brahmanas. So that is why the prosperity of any society is gauged by how nicely Brahminical culture and cow protection are in place in that society. The extent to which the Brahmanas and cows are protected, taken care of, worshipped, to that extent, a particular society will be considered advanced, prosperous. So, this younger Brahmana is saying, when we serve Brahmanas, Krishna becomes very pleased. Tahara santoshe bhakti sampada badoi. And if Krishna is pleased, our wealth will increase. What is our wealth? Our wealth is bhakti, right? For us, the wealth. So, according to our position, uh, each person may consider a particular thing as his wealth, right? So, a completely materialistic person, he will think when he has money, a big bank balance, then he's wealthy, right? Uh, Someone else may think, a pious person who's he may think that if I'm known as a good person, if I have that, uh, regardless of whether he has money, he'll give charity of everything that he has. But if he has earned a good name in society that he's a good person, uh, a charitable person, he will consider that a great wealth, even if he doesn't have money. Someone who's performing tapasya, if he does a lot of austerity, then he considers that as his wealth. So, good person earlier means one who does pious activities and he increases his pious credits. So, his pious credits becomes his wealth. Now, for a tapasvi, his austerities become his wealth. And for a learned person, his learning becomes his wealth, isn't it? Right? He's recognized as a pandit and he knows so much. That is his wealth. Generally, for Brahmanas, they don't consider their wealth as money. They live by the principle of simple living and high thinking. Their wealth is, the principles by which they live, right? Their if their Brahminical practices that they do, if they do it very nicely, then that is their wealth. And that is what people remember. Risheshringa. Risheshringa is the son of what's his father's name? Anyway, it's just slipping my mind now. But Risheshringa, they needed him to come and perform that yagya for Rompad Maharaj, so that that such a long many for so many years there was drought in his kingdom. But they needed, on what basis? Because what was this Brahmana's wealth? His advancement was in his purity, his purity. So like that. So this is the wealth. So what is the real wealth actually? What is the highest wealth? The highest wealth is what? Bhakti. For a devotee, his wealth is bhakti. And what is bhakti? Bhakti means love of Krishna. So the more you please Krishna, the more your love for Krishna will increase. It will increase. And how do you please Krishna? When you please Krishna's devotees, Krishna becomes most pleased. So that is why this young Brahmana is saying that by serving Brahmanas, Krishna is pleased, and when Krishna is pleased, our wealth of devotional service will increase. So Lord Krishna is very much pleased by service rendered to Brahmanas, and when the Lord is pleased, the opulence of one's devotional service increases. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this regard, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that the younger Brahmana rendered service to the older one with the purpose of pleasing Krishna. Yes, that we have to remember always. Even if you're following Dharma, we discussed it yesterday, right? The purpose of even when you know, here specifically we're talking about dharma, right? Dharma means you have duties. The purpose of whatever duties, whatever etiquette, whatever principles that you follow, even if there are other side benefits, like in Srimad Bhagavatam, you hear, you read that if you read this particular section of Bhagavatam and if you recite it every day, then you will be liberated, or you will become a king, or you will never, a snake will never bite you, things like that. So, what is your reason for reading those verses? Are you reading those and reciting those in order to get those material profit, or you're reciting those to please Krishna? Right? So, we have to be clear about our motivation uh, in doing whatever we are doing. What is our motivation? And based on that, our level of bhakti will be decided, whether we are mixed devotees or pure devotees or karmis or whatever, right? Generally it won't be karmis. If you are worshipping Krishna, then you are not a karmi. You are not a karmi. You can be a karma mishra bhakta, of course. uh, yeah, anyway, there are various levels of bhakti. So the intention, bhavagrahi janardana, Krishna looks at your intention. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying that the younger Brahmana rendered service to the older one with the purpose of pleasing Krishna. So if your motive is to please Krishna, that's very nice. It was not a matter of ordinary worldly dealings. So that is the difference. When we are asked to do the duties, the dharma which is given in the Shastras, it's not just, so there is something called, yeah, even in Vedic society, that was the whole purpose. The whole idea of Varnashram system. What is the whole idea of Varnashram system? What is the whole purpose of creating this material world? This material world, and then it's like a, when you get you buy a television, or you buy a laptop, you get a manual how to use it, isn't it? So similarly, when this material world is created and all the living entities are given their bodies, then the Shastras, the Vedic literatures, are like a manual to show us how to maneuver and what is the ultimate purpose of this life. So the whole purpose of this material creation is to give us an opportunity, as means all the conditioned souls, an opportunity to revive our Krishna consciousness. To revive our Krishna consciousness. That's the whole purpose. So then there are so many rules to be followed, so many dharmas, but forgetting the goal, people simply become enamored. Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadanti avipaschitah. Avipaschitah. Vipaschita means a learned person, intelligent person. Avipaschita means an ignorant person. Yamimam pushpitam vacham. Pushpitam vacham means flowery words. Yamimam. Where? In the Vedas. Yamimam pushpitam vacham. Vachan pravadanti avipaschita. So those who are less unintelligent, avipaschitaha, who are not actually learned, pravadanti, they speak and they glorify the flowery words that are given in the Vedas. What are the flowery words? If you do this particular yagya, you can go to heaven. And if you do this yagya, you'll get a son. If you do that, then you'll become a king in your next life, so on and so forth. And then they say, you follow the Vedas, and then you get all these results, and you enjoy nicely. So this became a, a perverted reason for following the Vedas. You follow the Vedas so that you can get all these material results. But is that the actual reason? Is that the actual purpose of human form of life? Is that the purpose of following the Vedas, to get some material results? No. Then why people are following? Because we are all, the whole purpose that we are here is because we want to be the enjoyers. We want to be the enjoyers. So, but actually that's not. Then how do we understand what is the real purpose? We will understand when we have a good teacher who can tell us what is the purpose of the Vedas. And who is the best teacher? The best teacher is a devotee of the Lord, is a devotee of the Lord. That is why Srimad Bhagavatam should be studied under the guidance of a devotee. So we are all studying under the guidance of Srila Prabhupada. And of course, Vyasdev has given us Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam itself is it's free from all cheating types of dharma. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. Vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayon moolanam. So this is going to give the ultimate, and it has rejected all types of kaitava dharmas, cheating dharmas. They are rejected in Srimad Bhagavatam. Still, if you find a wrong teacher, and even from Srimad Bhagavatam, they'll try to explain that it is, something other than bhakti is the goal. So therefore, it is important. So here again, let's go back. So the point of following dharma, anything that we do, whatever that you do, the purpose of that work should be to please Krishna. That's a devotee. So this younger Brahmana was serving the older Brahmana. Why? To please Krishna. It was not a matter of ordinary worldly dealings. Krishna is pleased when a Vaishnava is rendered service. Because the younger Brahmana served the older one, Lord Gopal agreed to become a witness of the marriage negotiation. See, why Krishna even, walked all the way and everything. What moved Krishna? A deity never talks, a deity never walks. We will see in the next few verses, the deity Gopal actually, even yesterday in Bhagavatam class, we were discussing this Raghunandan, a 5-year-old boy. Because of his love, the deity was moved, Krishna was moved to actually come and, eat. The deity came and ate. So here the deity is walking, talking and walking. Srila Prabhupada says in one lecture or conversation or lecture, he says that it depends on the devotional service of the devotee. Actually, Krishna is there personally in the deity. But the reciprocation that we feel from the deity depends on our devotional service. The more we render sincere service to the deity according to the guidance of the Acharya, then to that extent Krishna will actually reciprocate with the devotee. So it is up to the devotee to actually, get that type of reciprocation from Krishna. It depends on the devotee. So this young Brahmana was such a nice devotee that Krishna felt, obliged to actually walk all the way and be a witness to his marriage. Because the younger Brahmana served the older one, Lord Gopal agreed to become a witness. And why Krishna was pleased with the younger Brahmana? Because of this younger Brahmana's service to this other older Brahmana. So they're both devotees, of course. So this service to a Vaishnava was very much appreciated by Krishna. And Krishna was, he became obliged to the person who served his devotee. That's the whole point. Krishna is pleased when you serve Krishna's devotees. He was so pleased by this younger Brahmana because of this younger Brahmana's service to the older Brahmana. On that point, Krishna was so pleased that he agreed to become a witness of the marriage negotiation in order to maintain the prestige of both devotees. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would certainly not have liked to hear about marital dealings, isn't it? This whole thing is about how, this younger Brahmana wants to get married, not wants to. The older one is offering his daughter, and then they went away. So, as we'll read, and you know the story from before also. But this person, went and asked the first what happened, and then they were not giving the daughter. He goes back to Gopal, and then, they're not giving the daughter, but he promised, you are the witness, you have to come. So it's all the story about one Brahmana getting married to another girl. And this story is being narrated by Nityananda Prabhu to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the role of a sannyasi. What interest would Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have to hear about some marriage affair and how difficult it was to finally get them married? What interest would Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have? Still, he was so much in bliss hearing this whole story. Why? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would certainly not have liked to hear about marital dealings unless such dealings were exchanged between two Vaishnavas. Now, what is the goal of a Vaishnava? His goal is to please Krishna. So, whatever dealings you hear between Vaishnavas, so first of all, they have to be Vaishnavas, because as soon as they are Vaishnavas, then their only aim 24/7 is to please Krishna. So, when you hear about the dealings of such Vaishnavas, even if it is apparently just about a marriage or something, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is relishing, because all that also is very just like hearing about Krishna's pastimes and hearing about Krishna's devotees' pastimes. Same thing. Same thing. So marriage arrangements and ceremonies belong to ordinary material karmakanda sections of the scriptures. It's a yagya. Marriage is a yagya, right? It's a karmakanda section. It's a karma, samskara. The Vaishnavas, however, are not interested in any kind of karmakanda dealings. Srila Narottam Das Thakur says, Karmakanda, Jnanakanda, Kevala, Vishera Bhanda. Karmakanda, Jnanakanda. So in the Vedas, you'll find Karmakanda, Jnanakanda, and Upasana So Srila Narottam Das Thakur is saying, like Krishna also says, right, in Bhagavad Gita, what's that verse? Second chapter. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject matter of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes, or to these three subjects, to these three modes, and be established in the self. So Krishna is also not encouraging. Majority of the Vedas are dealing with this karma kanda, jnana kanda. But what is Srila Narottam Das Thakur saying? Karma kanda, jnana kanda, kevala vishera bhanda. It's simply a pot of poison. Don't go in that direction. For a Vaishnava, the karma kanda and jnana kanda sections of the Vedas are unnecessary. Indeed, a real Vaishnava takes these sections as a poison pot, vishera bhanda. So now, then why it is there if it's a pot of poison? In short, it is there because some people, it's just like, it's just like in our temples, in ISKCON temples, you serve tea, right? Tea. What tea do you serve? Do you serve actual tea? No. Drinking tea is breaking a regulative principle. You're not supposed to drink tea. What to speak of selling tea? But you make herbal tea, herbs, right? You make just some masala, different spices you add, and you just make iskon chai. It's not actually chai, but you just present it like that. Why? Because some people won't come here. They cannot live without tea. And when you say, oh, we have some tea here, oh, okay, come. And what is the whole idea? When they come, while they are here, uh, they will hear the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. They will associate with the devotees. They'll get a chance to reconnect with Krishna consciousness. But is the purpose of ISKCON temples to promote tea and to give tea to people and encourage them to drink tea? Is that the purpose? No. If you think about it, our purpose is to make them stop drinking tea, because give them a taste to this one so that they will give up the lower tastes that they have. Now you drink ISKCON tea with spices and everything. Stop drinking your regular tea. And from there, once you start associating with devotees, you start chanting Hare Krishna, give up all types of sense gratification and move towards Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotional service. That's the whole purpose. That's the whole purpose. So, like that, Srila Vyasadev's whole purpose is to bring all the readers to pure devotional service, ultimately, to bring them to pure devotional service. But people are on different levels with their attachments, with their addictions. Then, instead of just rejecting them, this is our, minimum qualification. Otherwise, you have no entrance. Of course, that will also happen as they go further. But initially, everyone is welcome. And whoever you are, and if you tell them that no, unless you have this qualification, unless you give up all these material, desires like karma kanda, jnana kanda, you cannot come here, then they won't even come here because they are so attached. They want these things. If they don't get it, they won't come here. So that's why Vyasadeva gives all types of options to all types of people. You want, merge into Brahman here, take this Jnana Kanda. You want to go to Swarga here, take this Karma Kanda and follow this procedure. In the process of doing that, when they come and they follow the Vedas, what are they doing? What are the Vedas? The Vedas are the energy of the Supreme Lord. And by being obedient to the Vedas, one is actually becoming obedient to the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, by not coming to the Vedas, he's just going to go to hell. By following the Vedas, even if it is for sense gratification, at least he will start making progress. He won't go down. At least he won't go to hell. So that's why. But what is the reality? One who has come to devotional service, who has gotten that Shraddha, that Drida Shraddha and Bhakti, what need does he have for Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda and all these things? So he doesn't need. So he can just give those up. Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Kevala Vishera Bhanda. Sometimes we take part in a marriage. So here, particularly Srila Prabhupada is talking about marriage, because this whole thing is about marriage, isn't it? This section here. So sometimes Srila Prabhupada is saying he's a sannyasi. So as a sannyasi, he is taking part in marriage. Sometimes we take part in a marriage ceremony for our disciples, but this does not mean that we are interested in karmakanda activities. Sometimes, not knowing the Vaishnava philosophy, an outsider criticizes such activity, maintaining that a sannyasi should not take part in a marriage ceremony between a young boy and a young girl. However, this is not a karma kanda activity, because our purpose is to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. We are giving all facility to the general populace to take to Krishna consciousness. And in order to fix that, so this is the whole purpose, whatever we do, whether we are taking part in marriage ceremonies or anything else, the purpose behind it has to be clear. That's what this young Brahmana is saying. My motivation in serving you is to please Krishna. Of course, we cannot do things whimsically. Even to please Krishna, you have to act under the guidance of spiritual authorities. You cannot just make up your own things and think that I'm doing it to please Krishna. What things can be done and what things cannot be done, that has to be followed, right? You cannot say, uh, I'll go to the liquor shop and things like that, like like nightclubs where they're up all night and doing all types of illicit activities, and you will say that I will go there so that I can spread Krishna consciousness. Depends on how powerful a Vaishnava you are. Are you going to influence them, or you are going to be influenced by them, right? So therefore you have to be very clear. They were actually, devotees were at one point, they had this idea of going there, or maybe they were even going, and Srila Prabhupada discouraged. No, like they would be there in the night, devotees going and, so Srila Prabhupada said no, like that. So, of course, we have to be clear, but the principle is always there. That
Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, he wanted to show us. That's why went to that Brahmana's house who was drinking. Remember?
yes, yes,
Asking, and he
but he
ran
didn't
away.
accept anything from him, right?
No,
He
he
just
ran away.
he took the fruit. Right, 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 right.
He ran away, no, and
He ran away.
in the Ganga,
Yes,
Ganges,
both him and Nityananda Prabhu.
and the Prabhu. Yeah, so he shows by his example that this is how we should also react.
Yes. So we are giving all facility to the general populace to take to Krishna consciousness, and in order to fix the devotees in concentration on the service of the Lord. Marriage is sometimes allowed. Yes, sometimes. It's not like it's essential, but sometimes it is allowed. But to encourage the disciples, very similar, to parents. Also, parents are devotees, and our idea is to groom our children in such a way that they will develop that affection for Krishna. They will become Krishna conscious. So, but sometimes in some cases we will see that the children are, they. I heard some stories, right? Once one teenager boy, you know, anyway, if they have some kind of an addiction or anything, instead of just saying no, you cannot do this, or like that, the parents actually went along with him wherever he wanted to go. The father went, and the son actually appreciated it so much. He came around, right? He actually, so according to circumstance, according to your relationship, your position, you act in such a way. But as I said before, first of all, you have to be a very strong devotee yourself. Not that you'll get affected by those situations, but your motive is to bring. So that means a Vaishnava takes risks. My point is, a Vaishnava even takes risks, which ordinarily one should not be doing, but he will even do some things only out of compassion to make that person stable in his Krishna consciousness. But taking risks you should always do with great care. Yes, only an expert will be taking risks because he has that capacity. Uh, Being a neophyte, a new person, if you start taking risks, you'll get carried away. So that should be uh, understood. Of course, Srila Prabhupada is taking risks. Uh, so he's saying that normally we have nothing to do with marriage ceremonies. It's a karma kanda uh, procedure, but still sometimes uh, we take part. Why? Because we are giving facility to the general populace to take to Krishna consciousness, and in order to fix the devotees in concentration on the service of the Lord. Not everyone can just remain as a brahmachari. Some need that family set up for them to be peaceful, and then they can actually practice Krishna consciousness. So, to facilitate that, Srila Prabhupada would take part in marriages. Take part means he would actually personally do that, perform the marriage. We have experienced that such married couples actually render very important service to the mission. Therefore, one should not misunderstand when a sannyasi takes part in a marriage ceremony. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu took great pleasure in hearing about the marriage ceremony between the young Brahmana and the daughter of the elderly Brahmana. See, this is called maturity. It's not this way, that way. Of course, when we are new, and for us it is, no is no, and you don't do certain things which are forbidden, no, and yes is yes. Like you always go on the safe side. Like when you're a new driver, right, you're always going on the safe side, like that. But when you're mature in Krishna consciousness, then you know how to use every situation, because you see, nothing is separate from Krishna, everything is Krishna's energy. It is an art to know how to engage everything in the service of Krishna for Krishna's pleasure. We cannot artificially imitate that. That is why we have to be truthful at about what level we are at, right? So, if we are not so advanced and if we are neophytes, then don't pretend or act to be an advanced devotee and, taking risks which are actually very dangerous for yourself and for others. But a mature devotee who can actually see this, like, Srila Prabhupada's motive is to give Krishna consciousness, and phalena parichiyate, by the result. You can judge an activity by its result. What was the result? Yes, Srila Prabhupada is a sannyasi. So many things, revolutionary things Srila Prabhupada did. He went to the West. A sannyasi is not supposed to cross the ocean. He went. And then he allowed even women to come and join the temples. They were also engaged in services, deity worship, etc. He got, being a sannyasi, he would personally get them married. But what is the result of all this? So many, tens of thousands, and it's still increasing now. It's more, a lot more, hundreds of thousands. But they just came to know about Krishna. They started surrendering their lives to Krishna by the power of the devotional service of one devotee. So many have come and are still coming and will continue to come. So for that sake, so he's able to see the connection. Even in so-called karmakanda activity, he's able to see connection. Actually, it's not karmakanda. It is karmakanda, but these samskaras are also essential. See, when you want to go from one end to another end, let's say there's a river, right? You want to go from one side to another. You need a bridge to cross that. You need a bridge. Your goal is to go to the other side. Some people may be expert swimmers. They can just jump in the water and just swim across the river. Very few may be able to do that. How many people can do that? But if your intention is to bring everyone to the other side, then you build a bridge where they can actually walk and they can come. So that bridge is this varnashram system. The whole idea is to make everyone pure devotees. That is the other side of the river. Now we are, not even karmis, vikarmis, doing all sorts of, no dharma, nothing. Then you take the help of this dharma with the idea of becoming pure devotees. That is Daiva Varnashram. So, but sometimes, and it's an emergency situation. That was an emergency situation when Srila Prabhupada first went. He didn't have anything. Who is there? He didn't have one person with him, not one assistant, not one disciple, not one servant. And he embarked on this worldwide mission of spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. So he had to work with what he had. And gradually he was introducing things. As he was getting, more and more, like you make more chapatis when you have more atta. When you have this much atta, how many chapatis can you make? And as you keep getting more and more, you make more and more. Right? So he was introducing things according to how much they were able to take. always very clear about the goal. The goal is your devotional service. So we shouldn't forget the goal. So whatever adjustments Srila Prabhupada made was not to reject the Vedic principles or anything. There's a purpose for everything. According to time, place, and circumstance, it has to be introduced. Right? You see the teachings of Jesus Christ. Why they were like that? Because that was the audience he had at that time. He had to teach them, don't kill. Can you imagine? Did you ever hear Srila Prabhupada saying amongst the 4 regulative principles, one principle is you should not kill anyone? No. Why? Because this is a relatively more advanced society than the society that Jesus Christ was dealing with. So time, place, and circumstance. But the Vedas are eternal. The Vedic injunctions are eternal. You cannot change those things. How to apply them properly, you need an expert. That is why an Acharya, Guru, Parampara, it's very important to guide us carefully, to maneuver carefully. Okay, I'll stop there. My laptop is also, battery is also dying and it's past time. So, did we finish the purport? I think we did. So, the verse was, Lord Krishna is very much pleased by service rendered to Brahmanas, and when the Lord is pleased, the opulence of one's devotional service increases. Yes. So, I was serving you, young Brahmana is saying, I was serving you to please Krishna, and Krishna is pleased when one serves Brahmanas, and when Krishna is pleased, then our bhakti will increase. And as a devotee, what's our goal? We want Krishna prema, we want bhakti. So whatever pleases Krishna, we want to do that. That's why I served you. So Srila Prabhupada in the purport is comparing this to how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being a sannyasi, what interest he had. But because this is about dealings between Vaishnavas, and Vaishnavas are very dear to Krishna, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took great pleasure in hearing this story about how this marriage took place. He took great relish, both Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada is saying that as a sannyasi, I'm not supposed to, take part in marriages, etc. But still, for the sake of pleasing Krishna, what pleases Krishna the most? That person who explains this Bhagavad Gita to the devotees, he's the dearest person to me. There's no one more dear than him, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada is bringing everyone to Krishna consciousness. So how pleasing that must be to Krishna. And in order to make them to come to Krishna consciousness, he is, participating in marriages and all that. So the goal is how to please Krishna. And same thing this Brahmana is saying. I served you to please Krishna. If Krishna is pleased, our wealth of devotional service increases. Okay, so we will continue tomorrow. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.